Shop talk, shy it, shut it up, shy it, die, up, shop tie, shut it up, shop talk.
Yes, I was born to win. These mountains gotta move, these chains gotta move. No more doing things my way. Let Jesus take the wheel. He knows just how I feel, and my purpose He will reveal. I hear my destiny calling.
I hear my destiny calling.
And I see victory. I believe just what He said.
I hear my destiny calling.
And I see victory. I believe just what He said.
Ooh, oh yeah, yeah. Time is ticking, talking, passing me by. So many people in and out of my life, breaking through the binds of my mind. No, I wasn't made to quit. The sun is gonna shine, my faith is gonna rise. Some things I just have to learn, but Jesus strengthens me. I can do all things, and my life is a new meaning.
I hear my destiny calling.
I hear my destiny calling.
And I see victory. I believe just what He said.
I believe just what He said. Yeah.
I hear my destiny calling.
I hear my destiny calling me. Yeah, yes, I
I
do.
believe just what He said.
For I know things are gonna work out. And so, for God said it in His word, I gotta trust the plan He has for me. I hear my destiny calling me. Yes, I do.
I believe just what He said.
I believe just what He said to me.
I hear my destiny calling.
I hear my destiny calling. Victory.
I believe just what He said.
Yes, I believe what He said to me.
I gotta reach my destiny.
Said I believe, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I gotta reach my destiny.
I believe it, I believe it, yeah. I gotta reach, I gotta reach, hey, 'cause He said
All right, y'all. What is going on? It is your man, D Tole. What it do? What it do? Happy Wednesday evening to everyone hanging out. It's your man, D Tole. Demetrius Toll Free. It literally says so right on the screen. No, it doesn't. Yes, it does. It says so right there. My name is Demetrius Toll Free. I am the host of your favorite show right here on your favorite network. That is Freedom Radio. Now, before we get going, listen, we have a very, very power-packed hour. You know what you got to do. Before we do anything, do me a solid. I'm doing everything out of order tonight. Do me a solid. Get on the phone, call, text, tweet, Facebook, MySpace, Instagram, Social Cam, Periscope, Marco Polo. But tell your mama them, Ray Ray, Shay Shay, Day Day, Delicious Nim, Nut Nut Nim, Pojo Nim. Let them all know that we are live right here on Freedom Radio on YouTube. We are on Facebook. We are streaming on the Freedom Radio app as well as on freedomradio.com. Want to welcome all of you to the show. And if you tune in and you're trying to figure out what is it that you tuned into, I got it. Don't worry about it. Here it is. It says so right there. It's Shop Talk, where literally no person and no subject is off limits. This is your first time. It's all good. Welcome. Welcome. Want to give a shout out to some friends of mine that might be tuning in tonight from my small company based in Silicon Valley, where I happen to work. And I want to give a big shout out and welcome to any of those friends of mine who are hanging out. We have this group that we talk on at work as well as on our iPhones. And I sent them a message saying, hey, come hang out with your homie tonight. And if you're hanging out, we want to give you a great big welcome. If you're trying to figure out what is Shop Talk, it's all good. Don't worry. I'm here to explain. It's that good barbershop, beauty shop, coffee shop, nail shop, donut shop. I felt my Krispy Kreme spirit coming up. It's that donut shop talk. Y'all know where literally no person and no subject is off limits. I already mentioned that my name is Demetrius Toll Free. You can find me on social media everywhere at D Tole Free. That is on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Clubhouse if you use it, or if you just need to test. I know some people are new to this whole digital currency thing. It's all good. You know, you can depend on your man D Tole to help you out. If you need to test, if you can send $1,000 to somebody via Cash App or Venmo, don't worry. Depend on me. At D Tole Free on Venmo. Money sign D Tole Free on Cash App. Send me that $1,000 if you just need to test it. And if you need the money back, it's cool. I'll send it back to you in $100 increments. We will make it happen. It will be all to the good. Now, before we get ready to bring on our co-host, and we do have two wonderful young ladies hanging out in the backyard, let me give some early shout-outs to some people hanging out with us. People like my guy, Demetrius Hunter, out in Atlanta. Of course, our thoughts and prayers are with him as he is recovering from whatever it is that might have had him bound. It won't be long until we get a testimony of his true deliverance and being set free. And it won't be long, thank you, that we'll be shouting together, lifting up the name of Jesus together, all because he's that kind of friend. Shout out to Stacy Williams Tucker. What is going on? Stacy hanging out with us. It's all good. And I see you, Vicky Savoy Griffin. We call her Choir Vicky at my church. She's hanging out with us as well. What up, though? I see you. And, of course, we got Tracy J. Wilson in the virtual building. It is all good. What is going on, Tracy? Shout out to my neighbor as well as a constituent from my church. We've got Gay Harris in the virtual building, another constituent from my church and great friend, Karan Edmonds, in the virtual building. Karan, what is going on? Glad to have you hanging out with us. Then we've got Yolanda, Mama Yolanda, that is, Yolanda Prothrow, hanging out with us out in the Bay Area, of course. Then we're going to retch down to Fresno. That's right. I did say Fresno. My homie, singer extraordinaire, Leah Marie, hanging out with us. She says, yes, healed, delivered, and set free. Y'all see me put my church voice on. You got to talk churchy when you say that. Yes, he's going to get up and he's going to be healed, delivered, and set free. You got to actually pronounce everything in church stuff. Healed with the D on it. Delivered and set free. All right, y'all. I'm through talking about it. Listen, let me get ready to bring up my first co-host. Yes, my first co-host out in El Sobrante. of California, hanging out with us. You know her. She is the world travel, the face that everyone sees on their phones every morning. They get messages of text from her all the time. I don't because she won't let me in. But people get great morning messages and all these great things from my friend and yours. Let's bring her up. The incredibly talented Ashlyn Tara Cole. Ashlyn, what's going on, child?
As I unmute here, what's going on, everybody? I don't know what D Tole is on about today, but anybody is welcome to join the text team. Absolutely anybody. We do not discriminate. In fact, we appreciate. That's what we do on the text team. So you can you're welcome to join the text thread. D Tole, was there a problem with your text going through?
No, I never got the invite on where to go to join. So
consider this your invitation. And to all of our listeners, you can simply send a text to 510-296-7943. And you might as well just say #freedom so that I know where you heard the text, you know what I mean? So I can know how to welcome you, how to say hello. But yeah, absolutely. Every day I send out a new message. Off the dome. Sometimes I send quotes from somebody else. You know what I mean?
You know, when I hear you say that, when I hear you say that, I think about that movie where that dude was like, "Gonna spit something off the dome, right here, 'cause we alone, Julia, you know I never make a fool of you." You didn't watch that movie? You didn't see that? Okay, my fault.
I probably did, but I don't.
It's okay.
Anyway, yeah, absolutely. It's been such a blessing, really, because I have everybody in one place, like that they can communicate with me, and you can literally text me and say good morning, and you'll catch me. So yeah, absolutely. You got to get up early though to catch me in the morning because I'm up at 4:30.
That's my time of day. I'm already up at 4:30. I've already said my prayers. I'm already up washing and brushing my teeth and all that type of stuff by 4:30 because I got to be here. I have a computer right here, but then I have another one right here where I've got to be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed by 5 a.m. And so, which means that when we get through the night, guess where I'm going? To bed. I'm going to sleep because
I will be doing the same thing. Speaking of teeth, I want to encourage everybody to get you a water pick.
Absolutely. It's a lifesaver.
If you have not got you a water pick, I literally just got one. I'm late to the party.
You're late.
But I literally went to the dentist after 2 years of not going to the dentist because of COVID. And I was a 6-monther. I was like every 6 months I would go for my, my checkup, my cleaning and all that stuff. And COVID hit and I was like, I am not going to open my mouth for nobody in a public space. It's just not going to happen at the dentist. I don't care. They got the shield and the mat. I don't know. Sword and shield, it don't matter. I still was not going to do that. So I finally went and they were like, you need a deep cleaning. I said, oh, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. So I got myself a water pick and let me tell you, honey child, it goes all the way into the little crevasses in there and it takes out whatever might be in there. But it's just good to have great oral hygiene. I'm not talking about mediocre hygiene, okay? We're not doing that no more, okay? That's for 3-year-olds, okay? We're not doing mediocre hygiene in 2022, ma'am.
Absolutely. I'm with you all the way. I had to go to the dentist. I've had to have deep cleaning. As a matter of fact, they took theirs a little bit even further beyond the deep cleaning with mine. I actually had to go. Hopefully this doesn't gross you out. But I had to go and they did an extra deep cleaning where they had to numb my gums. They actually cut out my gums, peeled them back, did a deep under there cleaning, then sewed me back up in terms of gave me stitches.
I'm sorry, you said cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not on my agreement. That's not part of my agreement. Now they are going to numb me.
Yeah.
And here's what they said. They have to do one side first.
Right.
And the following week.
You got to come back. Yeah.
They come back and do the other side. I said, oh, Lord, help me, Jesus.
Absolutely.
I don't really drink no more, but I was like, I could sure use like some Hennessy or something like that going into the dentist.
We're gonna keep it just going.
Line up like 3 or 4 shots real quick before I go and hit this dentist right quick.
Lord have mercy. We're going to pray for you that Lord will give you strength. I want to give a shout out and a welcome to the show to Mrs. Renee Kennedy, who chimes in and she says with you that the water pick is everything. I agree with you. And shout out to Delasia Campbell, who says, what up, though, to you, Ashlyn. And glad to have her hanging out, as well as so many more. Wanted to make sure I didn't miss anybody. I think I mentioned Deborah Shirley Piggies. If I didn't, hey, Deborah, welcome to the show. Glad to have you hanging out as well, and so many more. Listen, we do have another young lady hanging out with us backstage. Let's get ready to bring her up because we've got to jump right into these things that we got to talk about because it's some things that we need to put on the table and get some help from our listening audience. Let's reach out to Charlotte of North Carolina. I don't know why I say it that way. Why can't I just say Charlotte, North Carolina? But Charlotte of North Carolina, we know her. She always, in my absence, can sit in the host chair and does so many great things. She's a graphic designer. We all know that. She's amazing, as well as a great singer. Another one of those great lead singers, and she's a lemon head for the Kevin Lemons and Higher Calling group out of Atlanta. My homie and yours, all around smart person. She'll make you think. Let's bring her up, Yolanda Wildpraize Morant. Yolanda,
Hi.
what is going on?
Hey.
Hey,
It's a long day.
excited as always.
Hi. Yeah, I mean, it's a long day. I mean, now y'all catch me and I be really in my mode of working. And so, because I love you, I stop and I say hi. But
Well, you know what? And because I love you, I did not see in you as of yet.
please don't. It's just not necessary. But
It's all
Hi,
good.
Ashlyn. Oh, you coming to? Oh, maybe I shouldn't out you like that. Okay.
I have not decided, but I did get my VIP ticket. So
Thank you so much.
absolutely. I just figured, you know what? I was on his live and I saw the link and it popped up and I was like, you know what? Let me spend this little $75 on these
Thank you so much.
to support. And if I don't make it, if I can't make it, then I have people in Chicago that I will give those tickets to.
Thank you.
Awesome
You're probably
stuff.
wondering what she's talking about. So Higher Calling is doing a event called Back to the Basics, live in Chicago. We're doing for real Back to the Basics. Like we're singing like some old, like sing with Kevin. You don't know what he's gonna sing. I mean, to be honest with you, but we are doing some like oldie but goodies. So if you're in Chicago, you're near that area, some people in the area, you feel like you want to jump a plane, then meet us there. It's gonna be really fun. It's gonna be like really amazing.
What's the date?
Chicago is March the 20th.
20th.
Okay.
You got
That is
time. You got
that's a Sunday,
time.
right?
It is a Sunday night. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. That's amazing. I'll be knowing dates and what day of the week.
So maybe freedom should, like ride through.
Yeah. I ain't mad at you. I'm not mad. Actually, I'm off on Mondays and Tuesdays now, so I can go anywhere now on a Sunday. So anything is possible for me now.
You rolling. You rolling in the,
Oh yeah, I'm rolling in receipts. That's what I'm about rolling in right now. Anyway,
So
listen.
it's going to be at West Point Missionary Baptist Church in Chicago.
Thank you.
I haven't been there.
March 20th at 5 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah, Leah Marie. You should bring yourself on through, huh?
Now,
Yeah.
isn't she a Lemonhead now too? Isn't she part of
No, she's a she sings with FM2.
Oh
and
yes, LA.
Intentional.
Yeah, LA.
Actually, they have a new single out. It is called Leah. You have to type it in because I should know what it's called by now. I did for some of the artwork, but it's they have a dope single out. So yeah, that's what we're doing.
Absolutely. That's good stuff. And I'm glad that you guys are talking about singing because this is a great way for us to start our show. Obviously, I sing, Ashlyn sings, Yolanda sings. Jacory is trying to pop in. He keeps having some issues, but Jacory sings. We have all these great people within our organization that sing. And it's interesting that you guys mentioned this because obviously now our church, we've been closed for a few weeks due to, Corona and all that kind of stuff. But we're getting ready to open up this coming Sunday with a soft open. And, we got to get our praise team back together, choir back together, all these type of great things. And try to make things happen. Listen, and she said the song is called We Made It, just so you know.
Yep, it's dope. Get that.
Listen, I was fooling around on Facebook, something I do occasionally. I look more than I post. And so I was going through and I saw some different things, and I ran across something on Emetrius's page, oddly enough. I don't know if he was the first one I saw it from, but I did see it there. And so I have a question for all of you. Those of you who are watching and listening, I'm going to definitely need you to chime in just a moment. Ashlyn, Yolanda, definitely going to need you all to chime in. And I guess my question initially is going to be, how far is too far? That's my question. As a matter of fact, I've already typed it up and had it ready to put on the screen. So this is pastors and leaders and all these people who are in ministry and decision makers. How far is too far? And I know you were saying, how far is too far? What do you mean? I knew you would ask what I meant. Why don't I show you rather than tell you what I mean? Let's bring it up on the screen. Let's make it happen like this. So I need you all to pay attention to this quick 32-second clip that goes like this.
I don't know what's wrong with that praise team. They're mentally ill. Here I am singing old songs. They sitting there in their phone. Yeah, I'm on live. They're in their phone. So maybe I need a new praise team next Sunday. I want a praise team that's in tune with the service and not chilling. I tell you what, all y'all that sit down, get out. I don't know what.
Wow. So, wow. I'm going to just leave it right. And now let me put it back up again.
Oh, God.
Pastors, leaders, ministry workers, people in ministry, decision makers. How far is too far? Now, we just heard the heart of a pastor that was, I guess, at his wit's end, for lack of a better term, with the praise team and them doing what he did not think was flowing, as we use in church, flowing in the spirit or whatever, however you may want to put that together. And he decided to go in that direction. And Demetrius has already chimed in, talking about that was too far. Okay, I got it. And I see you, Leah Marie, saying, oh, heck, here we go. I hear y'all. I hear y'all. So this is a great question. I mean, we got a bunch of people who sing and are in ministry, and obviously Leah Marie is a great praise and worship leader out in Gilroy, California, at the Bethany Church. And obviously, Ashton, you do it out in Vallejo at the Friendship Baptist Church. And you, Yolanda, are always singing and ministering somewhere. What would be your emotion if, after you having your time of ministry and you've done what you've done and you sat down, the pastor gets up behind you and does something like that? So I guess the question really is, how far is too far? Ashlyn, I'm gonna start with you. How far is too far?
Well, my brain goes a couple different ways, right? So we are on the aft, not the eve of, but the aft of a pastor doing something very extreme in his sermon. And I think that we're sort of in a place of, shock for shock value. But I also think that sometimes people have had they've taken as much as they can possibly take. I do not suspect for 1 second that this pastor has not expressed his concerns with his praise team in private. And I believe that he probably was at his utter wit's end. I do believe that. That's just my take on the situation. Now, I've in the past been in rooms full of the praise team where we were told that we should all be fired and maybe they'd be better off without a praise team or just using tracks. I've had a pastor say that, but not publicly. That was in in the private room, in the choir room, if you will, with the team. So I think that there's a way to go about doing it. But in this particular case, I think that this pastor just had it. Now, I do agree with what Demetrius said here, and also definitely what Leah Marie said. But Michi brings up a good point. It's never okay. Let's just say this once and for all, in case anyone thinks for 1 second that it's ever okay to say somebody has mental illness or to throw out, the mental health jab, if you will. Okay. So first and foremost, 100% of people have some level of mental health, some level, whether it's trauma, whether it's the death of a parent, whether it's anxiety, whether it's worry, whether it's whatever, debt, whatever it is. We all have stresses that put strains on our mental health and our abilities to function at times. It's never okay because you just don't know what people have been through. It's never okay for you to say, you all are mentally ill. Never. I need y'all to just soak that in. It. There's one thing that you take away from this show today. Just know it's never okay to ever throw that out into the atmosphere that somebody, oh, you must be mentally ill. It's not okay. It's just not okay. It is absolutely not okay. It's completely insensitive. So if you're mad, great, be mad. Anger is a wonderful tool when it's used wisely, but that is definitely going too far, in my humble opinion. I'm
with you. I could not agree more. And I want to read, as I get ready to bring up our next co-host, I want to read what Leah Marie said. And many of you probably have seen this meme that she's making reference to. She says that I would have gotten my purse and walked right out like LeBron James did in his press conference and prayed the Lord keep the cuss words from rising up out of my belly. That is hilarious and super funny. Before I go to Yolanda Morant, let's bring up our next co-host who is actually trying to work his way in. I believe he's on the road somewhere, probably somewhere up and down Highway 80, or ain't no telling where he's going. But let's bring in my guy, Ja'Cory Prothro. Ja'Cory, what is going on, man? Welcome to the show.
What's up? Traveling shoes, Lord. Yeah, I got on my traveling shoes.
Yeah, where you
How's everybody doing?
Everybody's well. Where you going?
I'm leaving work, going to a rehearsal.
Wow. Yeah, everybody can't do it like you, man. But we're grateful for the cell phone service that has got you joined in with us, literally almost at the hip. But we're glad to have you hanging out, man. And you actually came in at a very interesting point, and this is actually an interesting show that really is probably going to pull on your chords. We just played the clip of the pastor who was at his wit's end with his praise team, and Ashton just so eloquently told us that no one should ever make reference to people being mentally ill or their mental state of mind. He did, but he even told him at the end of the clip, he told him to get out, told him to get their stuff and get out, which I thought was like really, really out there, man. But I mean, you're a singer, you do this all the time, you're at different churches every Sunday, man. What would be your thought process if this happened to you over the pulpit, live on Facebook and wherever else they were streaming?
Well, honestly, I have to say I've been in a ministry to where I've had a pastor which was a leader that liked to show his authority. I don't know. We're all human. Pastors like to show their authority. And after you've done it 2 or 3 times, you working on being publicly humiliated. But I think it was wrong. However, some of the things in which he was referencing, I have an issue with even some of the praise teams that I deal and work with today. But at the end of the day, I've been trained and taught, let's go behind closed doors.
Uh-oh. Oh, Lord.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Everybody.
Lord.
I get it, man. I feel what you're trying to say, that you're trying to say that there's a right way and a wrong way to deal with any situation, and a situation like this, which end or not, over the pulpit is not the way to go. Behind closed doors is definitely the way to go. Even if you're at your wit's end, I agree with you, man. Taking the behind closed doors, let's have this sit-down conversation. Let's put everything on the table, see how we can move forward together. If we can move forward together, if we can't, then behind closed doors, let's agree to disagree and go our separate ways without people's feelings being hurt. I mean, I don't even know who he was talking to because he couldn't show it in the video, but I'm floored by this whole situation.
But I do feel as though sometimes we get these leakages so that we can gauge ourselves. Because there's a lot of people that operate just like he does. So my thing is sometimes these things leak the thread just so you can see where you stand.
That's good stuff. I like that. I like your explanation of that. Keep hanging out with us if you can, man. I know you ride down the street. If we lose you, I will of course bring you right back in as soon as you get back in. But Yolanda, I mean, I'm sure you've got something to say about this. I'll do my best. I won't CNN you right now. But tell me, what you're thinking about this whole situation. You saw the 32-second clip. We talked about it a little bit offline. Give us your thoughts, man, and your take on this.
Okay, so I always try to really answer these questions. Like, I can't give you Shay because Shay wouldn't do well in this space. So, as a person who served in multiple spaces and places, right, in church, been everything but the pastor. Most people know I've been a minister of music. I've been all those parts. Just me personally. Mm-hmm. And I'm a kid who's always on her phone. So anybody knows me, I always have my phone. I'm always on my phone. My mind is always moving like this, right? I just think first of all, it was too far. There's always a better way. And even if, as Ashton has said, even if it went to the point where this is not the first time he has expressed his concern or his request or his frustration, to publicly humiliate anybody, for me personally, Yolanda, at any point at any time is, I just think, uncalled for. Now, I don't think you should humiliate your child. Now, I grew up in the church. I grew up where my mom would see. I was always singing in the choir like 90% of the time in church, even when I was a little kid. Like I sang with the adult choir, right? So with my little brothers, bless their hearts, they were bad. So my brother was playing the drums, but I had another brother who would be crawling underneath the seats in church. Yes, he would crawl underneath the seats through church. Amen. So my mom would look out while she was singing and be like, hey, I grew up like that, or my mom had one time like, hey, you need to sit down. You know what I'm saying? Now that to me is, you're disciplining your kid. But obviously these people, we don't know the relationships, right, with the people. But obviously that, I mean, we're assuming they're adults. It's just me. I just think there's a better way. And I agree with Ja'Cory. I think sometimes a lot of things I want to say, but I just don't think I should say them here on this space. But I just think that a lot of times people want to exert. Is that the way you say that? They want to exert their authority because, in my opinion, this is my opinion. It's nothing to do with Freedom Radio. Okay, you can't even attach this to Wildpraize. This is like my personal opinion, Yolanda, because they lack authority somewhere else. So that's just me. I think when you do those parts, then there's somewhere else where you don't have, or you feel like you have authority. There was so many more ways to handle that. Sometimes people are on their phone because their Bible's on their phone. They could have got an emergency text message. I mean, even if it's a thing where you don't like people on your phone, he said something without me just going on that I thought was really, really key. He said, we're live streaming. So that means right now, however many X people saw you annihilate, embarrass, humiliate your music ministry live on streaming. You cannot tell me that doesn't affect people and how they view you, and if they're going to make a decision, if they want to come back and watch you, or if they want to come back to your church. That's just me as a person who works in a faith-based community, works for pastors every single day, talks to pastors every single day. Let me tell you, there had to have been a better way. So we have to be a lot more cognizant. Thank you, Holy Ghost. We have to be a lot more cognizant of what we say and what we do, because we've seen these type of situations go really, 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 really bad.
Yeah.
And then the person, the leader, like, we don't really know who this man is. And this is no shade to the man. If you watch this, there's no shade to you. This may be a good thing that we don't know your name. Not because of us four. Thank you, Holy Ghost. Not because of us four, but because of how the kids, the cancel culture and this and this and that. And we've seen multiple people get canceled. In my opinion, that's not cool to do, but you get my point. It was too far. If you have an issue, you breathe, and then you deal with it behind closed doors, because now what you have to do is get service back in line. So let's say they killed it, right? They did a great job, or you feel like it was just okay, fine. But now you got to sing a song and you got to bring it back.
Right.
And somebody in that building who wasn't bothered about it, they didn't think it any mind. They are thrown off because you just humiliated their daughter. I'm just saying those parts. It's just me. I could go on and off unnecessarily.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that you could unpack. I mean, I'm thinking from the standpoint of me being a husband. What if my wife was the praise and worship leader that
Absolutely
he just humiliated on live stream and to whomever? What if that was my child, my son? You know, what if it was me that he just tried to humiliate? Now, I think I want to bring back on what Leah Marie said. She says that in a service live to flex on members or guests alike like this, when you you know daggone well they're recording. She says it's downright trifling and an abuse of power. Pretty much what Yolanda just said. This is me. Now, I am probably one of the most respectful people you're going to find. I respect everybody in their assignment. If you're the pastor, I respect you in that manner. If you are the bishop, whatever your title will be, I'm going to respect you in that avenue, in that role that you play. No matter how old you are, no matter how young you are, no matter what your experience or non-experience is, whatever your title is that you have in the kingdom. That you want us to respect, I'm going to respect you in that title. Mm-hmm. But if you disrespect me, my respecting your title is going to be different. Now, I'm gonna just say this, and I'm gonna try to move on. I come from that old school of wherever you cut up, that's where I'm going to get you back. That's the old school I come from. My mama would tell me, boy, if you cut up in this store, I'm going to whip your tail right in this store. I mean, and she made it, she was adamant about it. And I've taken on that adage. I've taken on that mindset. I can tell you stories of people trying to come for me in choir rehearsals, and I verbally got them snatched right there in the rehearsal. There's people who's watching right now that can attest to this. But I might not have flexed on him right then. But there would have been a very, very strong conversation that would have occurred that day.
Yep.
That day it would have happened. He wouldn't have gone to sleep without feeling the wrath of my emotion or my thought process over what happened. So I'm thinking beyond just the people who saw it. I'm like you, Yolanda. I'm like you, Jacory. I'm like you, Ashlyn. I'm thinking about the people whose feelings he's hurt, who he didn't take into account of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And for me, that's big.
It was too far. It was. So now when you're thinking, I'm thinking like, you don't know. This, I mean, I be trying to get people to notice this every day. The beautiful and the ugly thing about social media is you don't know who's watching.
Nope.
True.
You have no clue. I told artists the other day, they were really frustrated. I said, people are watching you. I guarantee you don't know. A good example is somebody like Donna Lawrence. He's very strategic in what he posts. He's going to post about music and his dog. And he may post something funny. Yeah. But people like that watch you in silence. They don't say anything. And so you don't know. So my thing is you possibly could have damaged somebody because maybe they were on their verge of saying, I'm really going to go back to church. And now I'm not going to go. Now you can't blame one church for your reason. Right. But that is how a lot of people think and feel. Yeah. And the other part you said is this could have been anybody. It could have been so you could have been fussing somebody's kid, somebody's wife, somebody's child. But the other part is, do you pay the praise team? I'm going to be honest. My first thought was, do you pay them? Like, are you firing people that you don't pay? Because the other part is, that's even worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you're paying me and now you fired me live because I was on my phone.
Yeah.
Go
ahead, Ash.
No, I mean, the thing about it is, with social media, you have no idea how far reaching it's going to be, because recently, and it's not just in church, It's not just in church. It's this is a global thing with social media, mainly in the United States. If I will say that, because we're so social media driven.
Yeah.
And I mean, even Kevin Hart, a couple years ago, and something that he said years ago came back to haunt him because it was posted. It was something that was recorded. And so you have to, the character of a man is judged when nobody is watching, right? But it doesn't seem like we have too many times when nobody is watching.
Ooh,
and so
that's
what we're not doing is we're not taking the time that we need to be in seclusion to deal with our thoughts. I mean, even Jesus, when the important things needed to be done, Jesus went into seclusion. Even he went into seclusion. When are we doing that? We live with people, we work with people, we drive with people, we eat with people, we sing with people, we pray with people, we praise with people, we walk with people, we run with people. I mean, it's like, when are you taking time out to really go into seclusion to deal with those innermost thoughts? And so what happens is we're always holding stuff in. Because we're always being watched. So we're always being watched. We're always holding things in. We're not being our true, authentic selves. And so when somebody presses on us just the right way, we explode. And that's when those moments happen, because we've been holding it in, because we never, ever take ourselves out of the equation, go into seclusion, and really get with God one-on-one, private time with him, to really say, God, I'm struggling with this. God, I really need your counsel. I really need your guidance in this moment. But we don't do it because we're always being watched.
Yeah, and the other thing is, when you're talking, this thought always comes to mind. I've felt like this forever. What you do in private, what you don't do publicly, you can't not do. What you don't do privately, you cannot do publicly. So, in the reverse, that's why I believe a lot of times, and this is just across the board. Let's take it out of church. A CEO, if he treats people bad at the workplace, well, more than likely, if Jack treats people bad at the office, more than likely he probably treats his wife bad too. So I've always thought like that. Like, you don't just come up with these notions.
Mm-mm.
This is how you are. This
Right.
is your thing. Oh, that is so good.
That's how we
it
say
just takes the right button.
Right. You say how you do one thing is how you do all things.
Oh, yep. Absolutely.
That's it. That's good.
So, here's what I think, and then I promise you we're going to move on to what Ashton has brought, which is a segue from where we are. Here's what I think. He mentioned about their mental state. I think we should be looking at his mental state.
Ooh.
Because he wouldn't do that if he hadn't experienced some sort of hurt or pain.
That's good.
And at the end of the day, hurt people hurt people. I'm going to say that again for the people in the back. Hurt people hurt people. So we don't know what this young man, and I use the word young lightly, but we don't know what this guy had gone through or what he had experienced. We don't know what he was battling himself before he came to church. And then whatever happened in church that we did not see could have triggered his mental state. We have no idea. We just saw a 32-second clip, and we're trying to ascertain everything that happened, which is hard for us to do. But let me throw this caveat. Let me throw this monkey wrench. Let me throw this curveball in here. Ashlyn, Yolanda, we don't know what the praise team sounded like. We don't know what they sang. We don't know if they was blending, how they sounded, if they could hear themselves, anything like that. We have really nothing to go off of. But what if the sound that he heard was his own fault because he had a janky sound system?
Oh, Lord.
What if the sound that he heard was not their fault at all, but that it could have been part of his situation because he didn't have either a competent sound person or the correct sound reinforcement to make them sound as good as he thought that they should sound. It's one thing for you to sing a solo with a band. It's a whole nother thing to have a praise team fighting and trying to hear each other and be able to make a blend to make things happen. What if that was the real issue, Ashley? I mean, we've all been to churches where, well, the sound just isn't up to power. What do we do then when, well, I'll let you talk about it, Ash.
This is so good, Dito, because Jesus. I travel around to different churches and I come across this a lot. Either there is a musician there and there's no monitor, or the monitor's not wired correctly, or the sound is coming out of one side and not the other, or the sound is just in the house or the sanctuary and it's not coming through the monitor. Just because the monitor's there doesn't mean that it's connected and working right and all that stuff. And then you get a microphone that is corroded on the outside because they haven't actually cleaned it properly, which also means that it's been in use for a long period of time. Then maybe you have a wired mic that's too far away from the receiver, or a wireless mic that's too far away from the receiver, or a wired mic that you haven't bought a new cord since 2019. It can be a lot, right? It can be a lot. I mean, the church that I'm singing at now, we talk about this a lot. And Ja'Cory, I wish Ja'Cory was on here, then he could talk about it too. But we talk about this a lot. Our team is fire. The praise team is fire. Everybody can sing. And the musicians are fire. Everybody can play. There is no issue. And we are in sync on Sunday mornings. We are in sync at rehearsal. I mean, it's like we don't skip a beat. But what comes through on the live stream doesn't always reflect what's happening in the sanctuary. Now, if you're in the sanctuary, you're going to get that good sound. But because we're going live streams, sometimes that sound doesn't always come through. And it's something that we talk about often. How can we get it so that the sound that's coming through on the live stream, so somebody out in what did you call it? Charlotte of North Carolina, that somebody way out there can listen to it and be like, I want to visit that church when I come to California because their sound is amazing. That's what I want. I want people to be on the live stream and be like, what's the name of that church and what's the address? Because I want to go there. But it's not always the case. And it's hard because your ministry can be fire. You can be, sanctified, anointed, filled with the Holy Ghost. And what comes through is wah, 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 wah. Not your fault.
Right.
And
right.
Speaking of that pastor, that mic sounded a little garbled to me. So it doesn't sound like his sound system is quite up to par. While he was yelling at the praise team, I was like, what? It's garbled. So you have to really put some money into your sound system, because the mega churches, the big churches, they're not playing around with the sound. They have engineers in there running the board. They have people that are trained to do it, not just somebody that's available to go push buttons on the board. They have engineers that come in that have degrees in engineering that know how to come in there and make that thing, tweak that thing. So spend the money and get your sound system up to par. So when people like Kevin Lemons and Higher Calling are in town, they're going to want to come to your church because the sound system is going to support the ministry. You're not just supporting a ministry with your finances or supporting ministry by having an event. You are supporting the ministry by having a good sound system. You want to know how to support me? Have a wonderful sound system there that allows for no distractions, that it allows the Holy Spirit to come in there and absolutely move, because nobody is worried about feedback or the sound cutting out or the drums being too loud or too soft, right? You can just come in there and minister, and then people can come to Jesus, because that's what it's all about. It said, if I be lifted up, then I will draw all men. Well, our job is not to draw. Our job is to lift. And so we need to focus on everything that we can do to lift, so that God will do the drawing.
I like that.
I'm done speaking now. Thank you.
Honey, I don't know what you've been drinking today, but that is good to me.
I like
I
that.
never thought about it like that. That is so. It's the most frustrating thing is to be somewhere singing and you can't hear, and if you're singing to a track, which sometimes it just, we're honest, sucks, right? That's just truth. You want to sing live, but something maybe, that wasn't available to do. And so you can't hear, and you tell the sound guy to turn it up, but then he's looking at you like you're crazy. So you're trying to be nice. It's just so much going on. Versus, I agree with you, investing the time. Now, because I work for churches who sometimes some of my clients are a little bit smaller. So let's say you don't have the money to hire an engineer, but there is so much available through YouTube and the internet. Do some training, like I agree with you. Even if you have to invest a little bit at a time, there's a lot of, you can go to a local college and find a college student who's going to school for engineering, and how can we make this better? I agree with you. Like, let's just stop making the excuses, because what you do, Ashley was so good, is you make it difficult for those real moments to happen.
That's right.
And there's nothing worse than trying to sing and you cannot hear yourself. And so you have to sing, you have to project. That's the correct term, right? You have to project louder. Now, if you got a big old voice like me, you're like, all right, fine. But then I end up losing a little bit of my voice because I had to project louder in this big room that doesn't have the accurate sound to fit the room. And so the acoustics are going all across the place. If there's no carpet, oh my God.
Right.
I agree with Ashlyn. Please make the investment.
And if you can't hear yourself, you're going to not be totally in tune.
Yep.
So you're going to be pitchy. So now not only are you not hearing, but now what you think you're hearing is not quite accurate. So now you're pitchy, and people will listen to it and be like, oh, she sounds terrible, but they might not know why. But us trained people that have a trained ear will be like, why is she singing so flat? Probably because what she or he is listening to is the bounce back from the back of the room. And sound, as you know, when an ambulance goes past you, the sound changes. When an airplane doesn't sound the same from this side to that when it gets far away. Sounds change as they travel. So the sound of the band is way over here. It's got to go all the way back to the back of the room and bounce back for you to hear it. Now you're singing in a different key. And we hear it all the time. Amazing singers that can go in the studio and throw down on a record. That's a whole nother conversation. But when they get live, there's so many variables. I mean, somebody who I absolutely adore. I mean, the Clark sisters go without saying, but Kierra Sheard is an amazing singer. And you don't hear her go out of tune too often, but every now and then. And I always say, oh, it's got to be the sound system. It's got to be the sound system. So there's so many factors, but I just wish that churches would invest the money. Invest the money. Do a little bit of research. Like, just Google local sound engineers and hire somebody to come in and just rewire your building. Just rewire the room. It doesn't take a lot of effort when you're dealing with a professional, not just somebody that says they know how to do it, or I did it when back in the day, or, oh yeah, I've been in the studio. No, pay a professional, because you're either going to pay a lot now or you're going to lose a lot later. So it's just better to just make that investment now.
You know, the funny thing that you guys mentioned, and that really kind of made me think, we're 2 years now into the pandemic, or into COVID, whatever you want to call it. We're 2 years in. And somewhere during this time period of the 2 years, everybody's church was closed. And I heard Ashlyn talk about the mega church versus the smaller church and all these different type of things. You know, the funny thing, when the churches was closed, everybody's church was the same size. Everybody's church was the same size. And you only have so long to keep people's attention. Even now, as we're trying to come out of this,
everybody's
pandemic,
church was this size right here.
Everybody's, absolutely.
Everybody's church.
Absolutely.
That's
and the main thing was, you can, even with that small of an instrument, you can still see and hear if it is a good sound or not. I think that more people were so concerned or panicked during the pandemic that they didn't focus on making the main thing the main thing. The main thing was to be able to put your ministry out there as best as you can, visually and audibly. Even now, people's bigger audience is now online. Even for us, our bigger audience is online opposed to face to face. And so, luckily for us, we had some people who took it upon themselves, whether they were paid or not. I don't know. I saw Stacey's statement. I'll put it back up in a minute. But people took time to figure out what to do to make us look better, to make us sound better. Even though we're still not 100% where I think we should be, but we're a long way from where we came from. So people took the time out to learn how to do this, to learn how to do that, to learn how to make this move from here to there, and to make it all work congruently to where we could have a visual and audible sound that was at least appeasing to a person that was scrolling on Facebook or YouTube to keep their attention. Now, granted, yeah, you got to still be able to preach. Your person still got to be able to sing, all that kind of stuff. But it all works together in order to make a great melody. And I see you, Pastor Toot Mallinson. What's up, bro? I want to put on here what Stacey said, and I know she had a typo in it, but she says, as you were saying, Ashlyn, to invest in your ministry. She says all positions in the church are not volunteer positions. Pay, as y'all both said, a qualified engineer or engineers to handle the sound. It is absolutely of the utmost importance for you in ministry, because not only are we competing with other churches, we're competing with everything else. I hate to use the word compete, but when you're on social media, it's a competition. You can say however you want to say it. At the end of the day, on Sunday, you're competing with every other church that's on Facebook and YouTube. So you have to be able, as Ashton was saying, as Yolanda was saying, you have to be able to do something that's going to make you stand out, that's going to make me want to stay. So
presentation is everything. I've said that without me going down my rabbit hole. It's everything. I'm telling you, it's everything. I know y'all don't believe it. I know people like, we sick of her saying take professional photos. And tell you something. It is everything. You can, I would say this, people can like or not like Jamal Bryant, but man, that guy invests.
He's smart.
From the presentation to the sound to the graphics to just over and over. And to be honest with you, he's always been that guy.
True.
Now, this is truth. He's always been that guy. He's always been cutting edge. They just redid the website. They redid the logo. He spares. Now, granted, it's a bigger church. It's a larger thing. But my mom used to say, you pay for what you want to pay for.
Come on.
I felt that way down in my shondo. We make a lot of excuses. But the reality is we want people to accept Jesus. But we want to present him any kind of way that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and that's what Allegra just mentioned. She mentions, and she reminds me every week that Jamal Bryant is her online pastor there in New Birth, Atlanta. Fool with her, she'll put her member number on the screen. She has her own member number. And but I agree. You can't hate what Jamal is doing. He's putting forth a spirit of excellence. So don't get mad when Sunday morning he has 1,500, 2,000 people watching. And don't get me wrong, the man can preach too. So it all works together. The singers, they have great singers. That girl Tiffany Boone is a beast.
Tiffany,
Jason, or Jonathan. I'm sorry, Jonathan worked together.
Jonathan Nelson.
The musicians are great. They bring in different guests. They bring in great preachers, and everything works together from the intro to the announcements. You know what's going to happen at the church this week. You don't have to wait to the end of the service, or you don't have to wait for somebody to try to see if the video is going to play. Everything is already pre-planned. You can't beat it. See, she already put it on there. She has to remember number.
What you're saying is excellence breeds excellence, right?
Absolutely.
So mess, likewise, mess breeds mess.
Yeah.
So in talking about the pastor, the situation in that video from earlier in the show,
yeah,
it's mess. And I don't gamble, but I'm saying, I imagine there is mess in that church. No judgment, no shade. That's just my observation. My observation is, and I imagine there's mess in the church. With the singers, the usher board, maybe that pastor is just like overwhelmed. And here's how I would take that. If I was a member at that church, I would immediately schedule a meeting with the pastor and say, how can I help?
Oh, that's good. Now that's good. I love that.
Immediately, I would not jump to conclusions. I would not be judgy because we all have our moments. But my question would be like, Pastor, how can I help? Because God has brought me to this church to serve, and I see that you have a problem. So if you have a problem, guess what? I have a problem.
Absolutely.
And so what
Good
can I
stuff.
do to help?
This is good stuff. This has been a great show. I'm looking up at the clock. Our time has already expired. And this has absolutely been amazing. Now, the show may get ready to end, but the conversation doesn't. We can obviously keep this conversation going here on Facebook, on the Shop Talk and Freedom Radio pages, as well as on YouTube. Now, before we get ready to go, I want to go around the room real quick and get some closing comments and final thoughts. Yolanda, I'll start with you. Both y'all guys have been on fire tonight. I'm glad y'all got a chance to hang out. Yolanda, closing comments, final thoughts.
Really? It's up to you. You can either live your life stuck, going around like the men at the Bethesda pool waiting for somebody to save you, or you can save yourself. Get up and do what you need to do. Jesus makes trees. He doesn't make chairs.
Ooh.
That's good.
That's not mine. That's TD
Oh,
Jakes.
good. It's okay.
TD Jakes, but Jesus does make trees. He doesn't make chairs.
That's good. That's good. I like that. Ashlyn Cole, closing comments. Final
Shoulders, boo.
You know what that means? That means that you got to do the work. God will supply the need, but you have to do the work. That's not what I was going to say. My final thought is we all need encouragement, but the quickest way to get encouragement is to encourage yourself, boo. So today and every day, be your own cheerleader. Don't wait around for somebody else to tell you that you look good or you smell good or what did you do? Just don't even wait for nobody else to do it. Do it for yourself. Start in the morning in the mirror and tell yourself, wow, look at God's creation. Look at the work of God's hands. And I promise you'll feel better. And then that energy, you go make somebody else feel better. And then this whole world will just be a better place. So encourage yourself.
That's good stuff. I love it. This has been an absolutely amazing show. We do this every week right here at the same Shop Talk time on this same Shop Talk network. It is time for us to get ready to go. I'm going to play a little bit of a piece of a song on the way out. But join us next week. We look forward to having another great time. It only happens, though, when you're involved. Till next time on this same Shop Talk network and time, on behalf of Yolanda, Ashlyn, as you still see, my name is So Free. Till the next time, you know how I do. Oh, hello.
Everything's gonna be alright. Jesus told me everything's gonna work out fine. I know everything's gonna be alright. Jesus told me everything's gonna work out fine. Wing to the master, feeling all burdened down, yeah. He said, son, don't you worry, I'm going to work everything out. And recite Psalms 23 in your heart and put your trust in me and know